in to the Brooks Bench with your host, Brooke, aka Shiggy, co-host, Megan.
What's up?
Different setup. We got stuck in a power outage, so this is the best we got right now. Yeah, that's why we missed Selection Sunday. So we apologize. I know we say we're gonna go live, but again, power was out for like 6+ hours where we're at. Weren't able to record. So we got this set up today. We had to sit next to each other to record. But we're gonna go over basically a bracket, I guess, breakdown, Selection Sunday recap kind of thing. Go over like our initial like reactions to like the seeding, the regionals and stuff like that. So let's get into it. So the seeding. So basically the overall 1 seed was UCLA. No complaints here. It was a debate between UCLA and South Carolina, and that's what it came down to. I don't know if you saw Dawn Staley. She was upset.
Yeah.
They had a tough schedule. Most quad one wins. They had a tougher strength of schedule than UCLA. So I mean, hey, you gave South Carolina maybe a chip on their shoulder. Good luck with that in March.
USD was also mad.
I agree with USC. I think USC should have been the third 1 seed.
Yeah.
And someone made a good point. They would have been better off a 2 seed instead of the worst 1 seed, because we'll get into it. They're in the same bracket as UConn. Like, come on now. Like that's tough. I think USC showed out. I don't think Texas should have been the third 1 seed. They probably should have been the fourth 1 seed.
Right.
So I mean, hey. So those are kind of the things we saw on the 1 seed. The 2 seeds, Duke cracked the 2 seed, which I try to advocate for them. I feel like they try to narrow it down just to TCU and Duke to get that last spot on the 2 seed, but Notre Dame fell out. So they fell to a 3 seed. I feel like a lot of people were shocked, but
it's how they ended.
They
yeah.
lost a lot of games within the last couple of weeks. And Duke was on fire. They won their games. They won their conference tournament. So the 2 seeds, UConn, TCU, Duke, NC State. Solid 2 seeds. And then the 3 seeds. UNC actually rose to a 3 seed. Which I'm kind of surprised, but like, hey, we might be UNC haters. I don't think we are.
Except for Brooke.
Brooke's a UNC fan.
Yeah.
And then Kentucky fell to the 4 seed. So UNC and Kentucky kind of switched. I thought Kentucky put on a strong campaign towards the end of the stretch. And I mean, you were giving them compliments, Claire Stratt coming through, stuff like that.
I just think if they did better in their tourney, their conference tourney, then they would have been in the 3 seed.
Yeah. I mean, their conference is hard, though.
I know. I mean, I know, but I'm just saying we thought that they were at least going to get a little bit further than what they did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, and then Maryland ended up getting a 4 seed, Ohio State a 4 seed, and Baylor the 4 seed. And then the 3 seed, I don't think we said it, LSU, Oklahoma, UNC, and then Notre Dame fell to that 3 seed. But yeah, anyone surprised? Any surprises? Who rose, who fell for you in the seedings?
I think it was just the Texas USC thing for me. Was just the biggest shocker, because I just feel like USC deserved to get that third 1 seed. And seeding is very, very important in March Madness. So I definitely understand the frustration there. And I'm happy for Duke to have gotten their second seed, because they did deserve that. But other than that, I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have to agree with you with the Duke thing. I was hoping they got their 2 seed. Notre Dame falling to 3, I think it's bold, but I think, hey, you kind of messed up towards the end. So that is what it is at that point. Okay, so let's go into the regional breakdown. Let's go over regional 1. So it's the Spokane regional. So we have UCLA, San Diego or Southern University, Richmond, Georgia Tech. UCLA, you shouldn't have too many problems in that first little bubble we got there. Also in the Spokane Regional 1, Ole Miss, Ball State, Baylor, Grand Canyon, Florida State, George Mason, LSU, San Diego State, Michigan State, Harvard, NC State, Vermont. I will say this is pretty tough. Like, okay, you're gonna have to basically the top 4 seeds: UCLA, Baylor, LSU, NC State. Come on, LSU is going to get Flage back. NC State, we know what they can do in March. They can peak at the right time. And then Baylor's getting Little Page Bugs back. They're getting healthier. They have good scores. Like, Baylor can do some damage. Like, Spokane, I mean, the regional 1, you're supposed to have a favorable
Hmm.
like layout. But I don't know. I think this is probably one of the tougher ones. Like this can get a little crazy. Even Florida State's in there. Like Ole Miss, like really defensive, like minded teams. It's just like, I mean, what do you think about
Yeah, I
region one?
mean, don't want to go too into it because we will be having a bracket
Oh, our bracket selection. Yeah.
selection, but yeah, I mean, I think all the brackets are pretty fair.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, the biggest one is just you got to see USC go against UConn when
That's
we get into that
yeah.
bracket, but yeah, this one's pretty competitive.
I mean, yeah. I for okay, you're the number one overall seed, and you might have to face either NC State, LSU, a healthier Baylor. I don't know. I think that's a little rough in my opinion. But yeah, not too much because we will be having a bracket selection where me, Megan, and maybe Brooke will join us, and we'll be picking our bracket live with you guys, or not live, but we'll be picking our bracket so you guys see kind of our thoughts and where we kind of want to head. Over to regional two, the South Carolina's bracket. So we have South Carolina, Texas, or Tennessee Tech, Utah, Indiana, Alabama, Green Bay, Maryland. Oh, Maryland's in here. Norfolk State, West Virginia, Columbia or Washington, North Carolina, Oregon State, Vanderbilt, Oregon, Duke, and Lehigh? Lehigh? What? Sorry. I apologize. Um, but I mean, this one right here, I mean, is pretty fair. I mean, I think Duke's gonna meet up with South Carolina in my personal opinion. Um, I think Duke's hot. I mean, UNC's in that category. Um, Maryland's in there. Any of these teams stand out to you in this bracket?
I mean, there's some good teams, Indiana, Alabama. There's teams that could potentially do something. Obviously Maryland, but Maryland's been struggling.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia's a little scrappy team.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen what North Carolina can do, and they're now healthy. They got Utsby and everyone back.
Yep.
Vanderbilt,
Hey, flying.
So I
Mhm.
mean, March Madness, anything can happen, right?
For real.
So
Yeah.
there's some sleepers.
I was gonna say any sleeper in this regional that
Can't tell them yet.
yes you
Can't tell
can.
them
You
yet.
have to pick one at least. Someone that can like surprise you maybe.
I mean, I feel like Indiana, Alabama, those are teams that potentially could do well. So,
I was looking at the fact you pointed out Alabama.
hmm
I could see Alabama maybe upsetting Maryland.
hmm
I would say maybe that's a sleeper. I know it's the 6 seed versus the 4, but if we had to like really pick someone, I think I would lean Alabama. I know been on a little heater, but I just said I think Duke's making it to meet South Carolina, so I have to favor Duke in that aspect. Um, but I mean, yeah, I would say maybe Alabama. I like how you said Indiana, but
hmm
Indiana's with South Carolina, so
hmm
I don't know how far. I don't think that's gonna happen, but yeah, this one mild. We should rate them in not mild. What's it called when you do
Here.
buffalo wings? No, it's
Oh, hotness.
hot. Yeah, the hotness scale. Over to regional three, we have Texas, High Point or William and Mary, Illinois, Creighton, Tennessee, South Florida, Ohio State, Montana State, Michigan, Iowa State or Princeton, Notre Dame, uh, what was that? SFA, Louisville, Nebraska, TCU, and FDU. Um, wow, Texas, you got a good draw. Texas got a good
And
draw.
that's why USC is so upset.
I would be upset too. Because what the heck? Your number 2 seed is TCU? Yeah. I mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, I definitely see the frustration. I mean, don't get me wrong though. I mean, Texas is gonna have to battle as well. You got Tennessee that can turn it on, turn it off. I mean, you know how
Yeah, that's
flip-floppy
true.
they've been. Ohio State is no team to sleep on. Michigan has fight in them. Notre Dame, obviously. Louisville as well.
Mm-hmm.
TCU, I mean, Sedona and Haley Van Lith. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like we're sleeping on this bracket, but it was just that I think USC deserved this bracket over Texas.
I think it's just a bummer because they have to
Yeah.
face UConn again.
Yeah.
I know USC beat UConn, but I mean UConn's getting healthier. UConn is UConn, let's be
Yeah.
for real. Um,
And sometimes you have to get mentally prepared, right? They met UConn last time in the last year in the tournament, and
yeah.
yeah, it was a tough loss. So I think that's a little bit of the frustration is like, man, okay, we didn't think we would have to get over that, right in our bracket so early kind of thing. But um, it's March Madness.
Yeah, anything can happen.
USC is still gonna ball out.
Oh, I think we're talking about the wrong bracket. We're still in Regional 3.
What?
We're still in Regional 3. We're already talking about Regional 4.
I know. We're excited about Regional 4. We're just saying though, like if USC was in this bracket, I mean, they would still had to, fight through some good teams.
Yeah.
So Texas is gonna have to do that, but
Yeah, but I mean Tennessee, they've been up and down, so it's not no consistency really there. I mean, Michigan and Notre Dame could be tough contenders for Texas. The only thing is Notre Dame, they've been on a downslope coming into the tournament. Michigan, on the other hand, I think has been pretty hot. I still think they're a little young. They're going to be great in the future. And then TCU, Louisville. I mean, the hardest bracket right here: Louisville, Nebraska, TCU, in my opinion, because I was trying to do a practice bracket and I couldn't decide between Nebraska and Louisville. I couldn't even get past the first round. Obviously, honorary Cornhusker fan here, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting for a regional 3. Yeah, we don't want to say too much just because we will be doing our bracket selection. I think it's going to come out Wednesday or Thursday. But let's talk about regional 4, what we've been talking about the whole entire episode. South Carolina is the number 1 seed. Not South Carolina, Southern California.
yeah, yes.
UNC Greensboro, California, Mississippi State, Kansas State, Fairfield, Kentucky, Liberty, Iowa, Murray State, Oklahoma, FGCU, Oklahoma State, South Dakota State, UConn, Arkansas State. I think this is a tough bracket. I think this has potential right here. Kentucky, we were talking about them. I know they didn't do that well in their tournament, but there were sparks of like good played games at the end. They've been tested in the SEC play. Iowa's been on fire.
Mhm.
I know they lost in the Big Ten tournament, but they looked good. Oklahoma's been pretty solid. And then UConn, obviously UConn, and Oklahoma State has showed, some sparks here and there. I mean, for me, a team I'm looking at circling is Iowa. I think in some brackets, I'm gonna have Iowa upsetting Oklahoma. I mean, what do you think?
I could see that.
I don't know. Oh, Iowa's been fiery, man, and I just want to ride that high. Oklahoma's been pretty solid. Some hiccups throughout the season, but Iowa, man, they're catching fire at the end, and that's, the teams you kind of want to look for, who's playing with passion and fire and just, hitting on all cylinders. But I mean, what do you think about the bracket?
I mean, my biggest wonder is if Kansas State will be healthy.
Aoka Lee is back. She was practicing.
Yeah, so I mean, but she is coming back from a long injury, so I just wonder how ready she would be. So there's a question mark there. Whether or not Kentucky can bounce back from their conference tournament and be back on the right track of where they left off regular season. I was, like you said, on fire. I felt Oklahoma hasn't been playing up to their full potential, to be honest, especially during the regular season. I just felt like their team's so talented. I just wanted more from them. So I'm excited to see them. And then yeah, UConn always shows out during the tournament. So yeah. And I mean Cal. I mean, we haven't spoke on Cal, but Cal's had a crazy season this year. I know we haven't spoke on it a ton, but they've had random upsets. So I mean, I would not be surprised if it came down to their little section, USC having to play Cal. But
I mean, what do you think? You spoke on Kansas State getting Ayoka Lee back healthy, maybe minute restriction, we don't know. But the potential Kansas State versus Kentucky matchup, I think this is one of the harder matchups for me when I was looking at the bracket. What do you think? Like, who are you kind of leaning towards?
Kentucky, just because they've had that time to gel. I mean, losing a star player like for so long, from injury does a lot for a team. It takes that gel away. And then you have to think, I mean, how ready is she going to be? Like conditioning wise, is she going to be like you said, minute restriction? Is she going to be able to just jump back in and be the same player? It's just a lot of question marks, right? But I think we'll have a lot of that stuff answered when they play Fairfield. So.
Yeah. I think I'd have to agree with you. I know Ayoka Lee has a big impact for Kansas State. Serena Sundale's balling out down there. But I really do think, conditioning wise, getting back to where you need to be, in March.
Hmm.
I think I would have to lean Kentucky, but if I made like a lot of brackets, I think I would split these up in a lot of my brackets, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that caps off the regional recaps of it. Let us know what you guys think. I know, again, we apologize. We did not get to do the live for Selection Sunday. Again, we were in a power outage, barely kind of getting back, honestly. So let us know what you guys saw, your initial reactions to Selection Sunday. Yeah, I feel like Sunday was jam-packed. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things. WNBA unrivaled, college, it was just the jam-packed Sunday. So let us know what you guys think. We're gonna have a first four preview, and then, like I said, we'll have a selection, like we'll have a bracket. We'll all three combine on a bracket and kind of get more in depth of why we want to pick those certain teams.
Hmm.
So that'll be fun. And then it's March Madness. And then it's time to go. It's ready to roll. Make sure to join our March Madness Tournament Challenge group. We just like to compete and see who has the best bracket. And I like to see like people that pick random picks and then you end up winning. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like you always need an upset in there somewhere. So yeah, make sure to join. Link will be in the description. But we appreciate you guys' support and bearing with us. So yeah, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, and we'll be back tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.